All right, I'll be honest. This was more of a curiosity than anything. More for the sake that it has Christoph Waltz in it, who I love watching on the screen. But it's directed by Luc Besson, who's for me a hit and miss director, but overall does good work. There's been a flurry of horror films that have come out this year, haven't there? Some good, some bad. Dracula, a love tale. They probably should have gone with a love story, but where does Dracula, a love tale, sit for me? I think in the middle of good and bad, leaning more towards the good though, and I'll get into that. Look, last year we had Nosferatu come out. I know that's different, but it's a vampire film that was on the big screen. Earlier this year we had Sinners, which is, I guess, a semi-original vampire film. I've got my own thoughts on that, which I'll put out at another time. Now we've got this vampire film adapting Bram Stoker's Dracula. I can see this completely flying under the radar for many people, which is a shame because I think it's worth a look. I won't go into like any major spoilers or anything like that. I don't think I need to. To be honest, if you know the material of Dracula or Nosferatu, you already know how the main story arc goes. How it's adapted, though, and presented to the audience, I think that's what makes it intriguing or makes films more intriguing. Anyway, I was interested to see what Luc Besson would do with this material. What would he add to it? Is it going to be a bait and switch? Is it going to get the woke treatment or add diversity in it for no other reason than diversity's sake? Let's jump into it. First off, it looks gorgeous, this film. The set designs, the costumes, the cinematography, the locations it's shot in, the details. The way it's directed as well is very easy to follow. It's easy on the eyes, you might say. I'll quickly say this though, before we jump into any kind of like discussion. The film is primarily in English. Despite the locations the film takes place in, it's mostly spoken in English, and I think a few people might have been thrown off because I first thought this was going to be a French spoken film, like a foreign language film, but it's not. So keep that in mind. It is English spoken throughout the film for like 98% of it. All right. Um, they say this is a love tale, and I agree. I agree. This is a romantic horror film. Emphasis on the romance first. They really lean into it, and it's displayed, more here than any previous adaptations of, you know, Dracula. I mean, it worked for me. I don't think they overplayed it. And what bothers me is that I think this film should have been released in February, like around Valentine's Day. Not only do I think more people would have been more interested to see it at that time, but it gives a bit of separation from the other vampire films that have come out in the past year and a bit. All right, so is this a bait and switch? No, no. There's a few diversions here and there, but for the most, it keeps to the main beats of the Dracula story, which is great because I'm tired of these last minute, plot twists that end up, making 80% of the movie redundant. So I was really happy that, they kept true to the story for the main arc. I mean, they didn't play around here, which is good, which is good. So what I really went into this film to see was Christoph Waltz, and you might say, what was the acting like overall? He plays Van Helsing, although I'm sorry, I just, after the film, I struggled to recall if he actually used the name Van Helsing. Yeah, I might have to rewatch it another time just to confirm on my own, for my own sake. Either way, Christoph Waltz, he does his thing here. He's very charming, charismatic. It's great watching him. Look, as good as he was, the other standouts for me, Caleb Landry Jones, who plays Dracula, and Zoe Blue, who plays Mina. I mean, for me, they were top notch as well. The supporting cast does a good job too, but those three, Christoph Waltz, Caleb Landry Jones, and Zoe Blue, they're the main show here. Okay, Caleb Landry Jones as Count Dracula as Vlad, he's very good at times. They give him the lost puppy dog look, which he does well, but he has great screen presence. He's very commanding at times. You see he's in charge. I hope this actor actually gets more attention and gets elevated a bit more. So I want to see him do more leading roles because he's got a very good, unique look to him. But for me, who I think really stood out in this film was Zoe Blue as Mina. Yeah, she's pretty, yes. However, her look, she's got this natural look to her. It was very suited to the gothic style of this film. And the character Mina had very good, I mean, I guess you could say Zoe Blue had very good chemistry with Vlad, with Dracula, with Caleb Landry Jones. You know, the way she spoke her lines, there was a softness to it, there was a femininity to it. She acted in this. That's right. I'm surprised Hollywood didn't ban this film because they decided not to make, Mina some boss babe vampire slayer. You know, I was like, that's great, man. Like they didn't just do a cut and paste female lead here. Yeah, Zoe Blue. I hope I'm saying the last name right. Either way, she did a fantastic job, man. Stepped up in this film. All right, let's jump into a few things that I think didn't really work, and that was towards the start of the film, the origin story, if you can say that, of how Vlad becomes Dracula. It's a bit choppy, and that could come down to a bit of the editing as well. Either way, the film could have been longer to resolve that, or they could have, shortened the film, like cut parts out and made a tighter script. Because, as I said, it was a bit choppy. Mm. And look, if you know vampire lore, this is another thing that kind of annoyed me a little. If you know vampire lore, direct sunlight will ruin them. Will absolutely wreck them, right? There are a few moments in this film where we are like they push that. They really push that to the limit. And this isn't going to spoil anything like major, but there's a moment where, a vampire is standing outside during the day and all they're holding is like this flimsy little umbrella. I mean, it's broad daylight we're talking. And I'm just like, this is pushing it, guys. But hey, look, overall, I give this film a 6 out of 10. I think, this is a really good watch whether you see it on the big screen or the small screen. It doesn't shy away from the violence or intimacy. It's a very mature film. I already mentioned like the visual style. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful the way it's presented and directed. The acting overall, it's really good. And at times, I'll be honest, I felt like I was being thrown back into a 90s era film. Yeah, yeah. And look, that could just be me, but it's also the fact that they didn't do the bait and switch, which I think collectively we're all rejecting at this time. I mean, I've rejected it for the past 10 plus years since it started, but I'm seeing more and more of the, average Joe, the mom and pops, the younger people as well, just rejecting the idea of, woke being introduced into films rather than presenting a good story and working with that. Anyway, guys, if you've seen this or you're going to go and see this, let me know what you think. Dracula, love tale. Anyway, thanks for listening. Enjoy your day, guys.